So let's discuss markets and investing with a new face on the channel, a fresh guest which we have for our viewers, Prashant Vaishampayan. Prashant works for his own firm, Trivikram Consultants. He's an old hand in the market, of course, been an analyst and have worked with veterans like Ajit Dayal in the past. Now, of course, runs his own firm. Prashant, thank you so much for joining us, and glad you could make it. Now, chemicals is an area where you have also tracked for almost a decade plus and have made investments in. Before we talk about stocks, etc., and companies, which are the triggers which you are looking at as far as chemicals are concerned? Because many chemicals, they have still already done well, so it's not a completely undiscovered area. But still, what are the factors you like there?
The reasons we focus on specialty chemical industry is, first of all, it has a very strong entry barrier. Without the approval of the client, you are not in that business. So that itself, as an outsider, as an individual investor, it gives you some kind of a comfort level that somebody else has done due diligence on the product. The second thing is the margins are reasonably stable. It's a B2B business. Both the partners sit across the table, decide the price, fluctuate in a fairly tight range. And thirdly, they create cash flows on a consistent basis. Of course, capex is a continuous thing for specialty chemical business, but otherwise, free cash flow generation is something that we like. So those are the three reasons why we focus on specialty chemical companies. The advantages that the pharma industry has seen in the past and why it has grown so much are also applicable more or less to the chemical industry. So you have English speaking population, you have compliance and regulations in place, and also better yields because of continuous process improvement. The chemical industry in the past did not have the scale advantage because it was largely looking at the local market, but that's also changing now. So, with the focus on the global market, the scale benefits are also beginning to come in. So, those are the reasons why we focus on specialty chemicals. My team and I focus on a whole range of companies, from the large caps like Tata Chemical, part of Nifty, to Aarti Industries, Vinati, SRF, Galaxy Surfactants, all the way down to smaller companies such as Bodil Chemicals or Daiichi Karkaria or Apcotec. So we cover a whole range of them.
Right. What are your thoughts, Prashant, on the valuations of this space? As we discussed, some of the names which you've spoken about, Aarti Industries, Tata Chemicals, Galaxy Surfactants, these stocks have already done well. So the valuations are no longer as cheap as perhaps they were some time back. But of course, their earning potential may have improved as well. But what are your thoughts on valuations?
It's a sector which is now very well discovered by institutional as well as retail investors. So yes, you're right. It is not a very cheap sector. Um, so I think it is better that we do our homework, identify the companies that we like, decide the price that we think we are comfortable paying by looking at next couple of years growth and all the fundamental analysis that's necessary. But also remember that specialty chemical industry is not like a IT industry with a quarter-on-quarter predictable kind of a growth, etc. There are always things that go wrong, which may not, sometimes they are not in the management control. The clients cancel the contracts, competitors start new plants, regulators come in and stop the production for some reason, environmental pollution, etc. Logistical issues change your raw material pricing, and suddenly profitability gets impacted. Companies reach full capacity, and then profit expansion may not be possible. All these kind of things give you a good entry point. So, in a way, be ready with a list of companies that you like and prepare a sort of a entry price and also an exit price. So if you think that the fundamentals don't justify a particular price because of suddenly a stock has become overly popular, or a good set of numbers have led to overshooting of the share price, don't be hesitant in taking profits.
Prashant, you made the point that investors should also have a ballpark exit point ready, depending on their research, is a very valuable point. Investors usually forget that, and it's difficult to arrive upon, though. Let's shift focus and talk about the other area which you like, which is the pharma space. But pharma, it's such a huge area. There is CDMO, CMO, generics, MNCs, domestic pharma. Of course, healthcare is a bigger term now. Diagnostics and hospitals also come into there. What are your areas of interest, and what are kind of growth potential does it hold?
Well, eventually, as a shareholder, I want to be in a business that gives me better and stable margins. And that's what we try to identify in each of the segments that we look at. So if we start at the Indian dosage business, the for several years the story has been focus on the chronic segments that have much better margins rather than the acute segments. So that's your starting point for India. In emerging markets, I would rather own companies that are in the branded segment rather than a generic segment. In US generic, again a market which you can't ignore because of the size, you want now especially companies that are focused on difficult to make, or products that have some kind of entry barrier. The plain vanilla generics, we have seen what has happened to that in the past several years. So, so that would be on the dosage business. Yes, you're right. As an investor, we must never forget that API is actually the lifeblood of pharma business. So money can be made there also. You have to look at companies that have global scale of production, manufacturing arrangement with innovators, which is called either CMO or CDMO, whichever you prefer. Products or therapeutic areas that are difficult to make, hormones and injectables. These are the kind of things that will continue to make better margins. Of course, there are company-specific issues here and there, but these are by and large the uh, segments in pharmaceutical industry that I would focus on. And last but not the least, I think the future of pharma industry lies in biologics. If you see now, among the top 10 brands globally, you have biologics playing an important part. So chemistry is important, but biologics are going to be the future for the next several years. So understand the companies that are going in the generic biologicals, and that is what will make money for the investors in the future.
Right. Prashant, talk to us about what are the companies or the stock names, if you could talk about, which you've been researching over the years.
We have covered a whole range of companies. I mean, obviously, you start with the biggie, Sun, Lupin, Cipla. At one point of time, Ranbaxy, when it was a separately listed companies, uh, Piramal Healthcare. Um, uh, Among the smaller or younger companies, you have Laurus, Granules, again, IPCA, JB Chemicals, a whole range of them.
Right. Sure. Let's also talk about the space which you are playing right now as the next sunrise sector for the next few years, like chemicals was some time back.
I think now as I mentioned, biologics will be the sunrise industry going forward. People have struggled in the past to get approvals, not because they were not capable, but simply the regulatory path was not very well defined. Things have been changing. Europe was ahead of US in terms of giving approvals for the generic biologics. So that's one area where we are seeing. I think the next areas, obviously, vaccines is going to get a lot of attention. You are going to see, a healthcare which is going to become more personalized. So if we get opportunities in the listed space in that areas, that would be something to go for. And the whole benefits that are going to come out of studies of genomics, etc. Unfortunately, as of now, in India, investors don't really have too much choice there. But those are, I mean, the future of healthcare is definitely looking very, very solid. New opportunities. I just hope some of them get listed in India.
Prashant, we'll let you go on that one. Of course, the healthcare is a space which is getting completely re-rated and is getting its fair share in the sun. Let's